Meantime, SoftBank investing $2 billion in Intel. This, of course, coming as the Trump administration reportedly considering taking a stake of 10% in that struggling chip maker. Kristina Partsinevelos joins us now with the latest on all of it. Good morning.
Good morning. This is, I would say it's really just a lifeline from the private sector. SoftBank is going to pay about $23 a share. Intel tells me just last night it's a, quote, primary issuance of common stock. So that's 87 million new shares, giving SoftBank 2% of the company. And shares are up over 5% this morning because it's seen as a major vote of confidence in Intel, far outweighing any stock dilution concerns. The deal also builds SoftBank's broader U.S. expansion, including the Stargate data center project with the OpenAI and Oracle, and also a recent deal to buy Foxconn's EV plant in Ohio. Intel, like you said, has also had talks with the Trump administration about a deal that could make the U.S. government its biggest shareholder, potential 10% stake using CHIPS Act funding. Intel wouldn't comment on this possible government investment, but nonetheless, the rumors have been milling for quite some time. But Intel's foundry unit won't break even until 2027, and that's where the problems come about. And they need external customers to generate billions of dollars in revenue. The company posted a $2.9 billion loss just last quarter. They laid off, or going to lay off, 15% of their workforce this year, and they threatened to halt advanced manufacturing processes without any external customers. As Wedbush notes, cash alone won't solve Intel's problems. The real game changer would be if the administration encourages customers to use Intel's capacity through policy initiatives, for example. So bottom line, Intel needs customers, not just capital, to turn around, guys.
So here's the thing that I can't figure out about all this. The only way that Intel is going to succeed to some degree is if it finds some genuinely new customers. And I don't know if you remember, but Gina Raimondo was reportedly back, this is in the Biden administration, was reportedly out pressing some of the big tech companies, Amazon, Apple, others, Google, to try to use Intel chips. That was sort of she became a salesman almost for Intel. And the truth was that the chips were never good enough. And so if you were Amazon or Google or Apple, you said, I don't want this. This is not the product that I want to be buying. And so now, and maybe you could argue that this administration and President Trump is either a better salesman or more forceful salesman. What happens when the administration calls Tim Cook up now and says, hey, I need you to buy, 100 million chips from Intel. I know you want to buy them from, NVIDIA or XYZ, but this is how you have to do it.
Yeah, there's a difference between the Biden administration and the Trump administration in terms of the overhang for all of these companies. There's no major threat of, anywhere between 25 to 300% tariffs on semiconductors. There's no threat of, hey, we're going to take 15% of your China sales revenue if you don't invest here in the United States. So I think there's a lot more pressure on these companies to invest in Intel. And now you have to see it as more of an R&D investment. So we're going to invest in Intel. We know that their most advanced chip manufacturing process is still not up to par, but hopefully it will help us in the long run when we need to build on American soil. And there's more of this sovereign push, to create here. But you are right.
Where I'm going with the question is, are they going to be forced to buy products they otherwise don't want to buy? It's one thing to force them to invest in a company that they don't want to invest in. That's one thing. To actually buy product that you don't want to buy because you don't think it's good enough actually then has ramifications on the customer.
I don't think it would be a force to buy, because then you would have had SoftBank say, we're going to use Intel right now to build out ARM's future chips, right? Because ARM is SoftBank's a major investor in ARM. ARM is said to be building their own individual CPU chips that would eventually compete against AMD and Intel. So I think it's more about investments at this point. I don't think that these companies are being pushed to actually use all of the products from Intel just yet. But
Andrew,
they need to do something soon, because the foundry business is going to flounder.
Andrew, you're not giving government enough credit, I don't think. If the government invests and then it becomes involved with the running of the business, they could improve the quality of the chips. Imagine an Amtrak and what they've been able to accomplish there, or the air traffic controllers system. Yeah, the government.
Go on.
No, the government does not have a great record of knowing how to run a private business. But the other thing, and it's pointed out, as I said in the journal, it helps when companies that are really bad are allowed to fail. And Intel, the reason they're laying off people and not using the chip money they got, there's no demand for the. Why would they?
This goes to the demand issue.
Right. Why would they build more manufacturing facilities when no one is buying their chips?
I believe the next part of the story is the jawboning, if not something worse.
Well, what if it was a carrot?
Companies
What if it was What if it was a carrot? What if it was a carrot instead of a stick? In other words, some type of
we'll pay you to use this crap.
Put this piece of crap in your stuff, and we'll pay you instead of no. That.
But by the way, then you infect the entire ecosystem.
Right.
Infect the entire technology business.
You're really getting me agitated.
I go back and forth because I agree with everything you guys are saying on these points. You get back to this idea of we don't manufacture any chips here. We are completely reliant on Taiwan. If anything happens to Taiwan, we are hosed.
It would be nice if SoftBank would keep putting in more money. Like
somebody else would pay for it?
Right.
Well, and then there's a separate issue, which is you have SoftBank putting money in right now.
Yeah.
Part of their gamble is that the taxpayer in America is effectively going to subsidize their investment.
Because of the 10%.
Correct.
Yeah. Right.
So how should we feel about that?
It opens up a lot of...
Although when the government did put money into the auto manufacturers during the financial crisis, it worked out very well. When you put the money in, you took it as a first investor who gets paid before anybody else. You got a preferred dividend on it. The government made money on all of those deals that they did during the financial crisis.
Do we have a great auto sector now?
No, but we made money. The point is the U.S. taxpayer did not lose money on those deals.
But it did, I don't want to call it mediocre, but we still think
and the government was heavily involved with all the
subsidized sort of mediocrity.
When things were falling.
If things went south again...
As you know, I always thought we needed to rescue the banks. I wanted to rescue the automakers, too.
Yeah.
So, may culpa on me. However,
we did well.
It also created a cultural backlash that I would argue to some degree has lasted even to this
Wall
day
Street,
in a sort of massive way. And so I just wonder, does this
and it also created the problem where investors think you don't have risk, and that has lasted to this day as well, that the government's always going to bail you out.
Yeah, you know what, you probably have to say it was good that the automaker, because the quality's improved, we need that industry in the United States. It may not be, you may still say Japanese or Korean automakers make. The quality's improved. I like my American.
By the way,
I'm glad we have that industry.
I would probably oddly have more time to pull a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac situation on this whole game.
Yeah.
Just take over the whole thing. Just take it.
Right.
Just take. Who's made? You want to know where the real money's been made for taxpayers?
Right.
That's where the real money's been made.
Fannie and Freddie.
And there's massive pressure right now for the government to get out of those businesses from the investors who want to make money on it.
Correct. And so once you get into this quasi.
But then the question becomes, if you do that, will you be able to get loans for home mortgages? Because they subsidize such a huge part of it.
That's a whole different ball of wax. Kristina, talking about.
I think the answer is we don't know the answer.